Hello, and welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan Readthrough podcast. My name is Peter Bond, and with me today is the fastest gun in the West, Joshua Baker.
That's my gun sounds.
Wow. Our producer, AJ Fileri.
Hello.
How are the levels, the bars?
They're good. There's another heat wave here on the East Coast, and I'm very upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
And rounding out the crew is my friend and former closest confidant, India Jones.
Wow.
I was wondering why I was going last today, and you didn't disappoint. What is going on?
Well, as I told you in the group chat, I have befriended a cat down here, and now the cat is the holder of all my secrets and a close companion, so.
You can't even hold the cat.
Well, we can't touch. I would get puffy eyes, but she can listen to me, you know?
I can listen to you. You can hold me.
That's true.
That is true.
I'll never give you puffy eyes.
This is big news for the people who don't listen to the Mailbag. We're going to come back in season 9, and they're going to be like, what happened?
Also, guys.
Yeah?
Oh, wait. No, you please, go ahead.
This is not important. I met a cat.
No, it is.
This is not a big story.
It's a nice cat, though.
I'd beg to differ. As your friend and close and formerly closest confidant, I want to hear everything you have to say.
Yeah, whose cat was it?
I am visiting family in Georgia. It is a cat down here.
Nice.
She's anyway, this is bad audio. I really just wanted to mention it. I'm having a great cat time,
yeah.
And she was shouting at me this morning, and I'm having the most positive cat experience I've ever had. So that's what I wanted to share this morning. How are you, India?
I would say it's your second most positive cat experience, as your first one was probably meeting my cat Bella, but you probably just forgot.
I had several negative Bella experiences, let the record show.
I do want to share with my 10 Very Big Books, fam, that I have COVID.
She's got the vid.
Yeah.
And I gotta let you guys know it's real and it's not over.
It comes for all of us someday.
I've never gotten it before. I feel like really triumphant that it took this long, but kind of pissed that I have it, especially for the weekend. What a time. I live for the weekends.
It's true. Yeah, it's very true.
And how are you feeling this morning?
The only symptom I have is the worst one to have, which is no taste. Can't taste anything, but everything else, and I have a stuffy nose, but other than that, I feel fine.
Well, we're all glad to hear that. Josh, have you had COVID?
No,
that's insane.
HR is sorry. My fiance. Well, I don't give a shit. Her name's HR. You never figure that out. She's on her second round of, and it could be COVID. And I've yet to get sick from either time this has happened. So I'm annoying. I've been told.
Also, you work in a school, which is fucking insane.
Yeah. What's very funny is I typically have the immune system of a wet tissue. So. Like, I get sick from fucking everything, but apparently at knock on desk, the vid's got nothing on you, boy.
Nice.
Damn right. All day.
Well, Inge, we hope you get better soon.
I am fine. That's the problem. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I just can't taste it. I'm congested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we just finished our read-through of Toll the Hounds, of course, and we sent out, we asked your thoughts about the book. We asked for questions. And you delivered. We're really kind of overwhelmed by the amount of mail we received, and a lot of it was really great. So we're going to try our best to get to a lot of it today. I did want to give a special shout out to Ivan, who sent us a really thoughtful email, and I think the four of us really appreciated it. So just wanted to thank him. Now, today on the show, let's get to some of the many questions. This question comes in from Dave Ko on Twitter. Josh, if you got a new puppy tomorrow, which hound or character would you choose to name it after?
None of the hounds, because I don't remember any of their names other than like Gear.
Gear?
Which is not a great, puppy name. I'd probably name him Crocus.
Crocus.
Ooh,
I think Crocus is the most puppy-like character in the books. So,
how do you feel about just saying Pust? Well, puppy Pust. Pust.
Nope.
Oh, no.
Nah, puppy Pust is
Sounds like pus.
Actually, you're in jail now, Peter. That's how that works.
AJ, any thoughts?
I'm always thinking about pet names, but I don't think I would ever choose any name from like a series because I'm a huge fan of having first, my cat's name is Scrappy, which is not a super creative name, but I'm a big fan of like pets that are named like Gerald or like Jack, like just like a person name. Like if I was like, oh, you want to come over and meet Steven? And it's just like
Clyde.
my dog. Like that's the funniest shit to me. I love that so much. So I'm sorry to all the Malazan heads out there. I would not name them like Whiskey Jack. I would just name them like Jack. Or like Jacob or something.
I'd like to rescind my initial answer. I would name my puppy Animander Rake, Lord of Darkness.
Oh, that would be good. That would be good.
I think that's what I would, yeah.
Do you mean Lord of Moonspawn, Son of Darkness, Josh? Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah. Well, that's the long
dumbass.
title, Peter. I was going with the shortened one. And then when people are like, what did you say? I'd be like, no, Annie. His name's Annie.
Annie. Nice.
Annie. You know, my new closest confidant is a cat named June. It's a beautiful name for an animal.
June.
It's a month.
It's also a name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had an aunt named June.
Handmaid's Tale.
Wow.
Just free association over here.
Yeah.
Inge, any pet calls? What do you think?
Yeah. Let's go with, maybe this is basic, but like Lady.
Oh,
that's good.
Envy.
I like that.
Yeah, in parentheses, envy.
Envy.
You take a long pause.
Maybe even just Envy.
I'm gonna name my cat Spite. That's really
Oh, yeah.
that's a really
funny as-
intense energy.
I like that.
I think that'd be a great cat name, but I do agree it would be an intense introduction.
Yeah. It'd be an on-brand cat name for sure.
Yeah.
I have literally 2 cats circling my legs right now. This is a very cat positive podcast.
I'm getting my cat's in there right now after demanding to get in, and now she's demanding to get back out. So classic cats. This is from Tor, my GG.
Or
that
to Remy, Gigi, maybe, or
you know who you are. The question is, Toll the Hounds is one of the most divisive books in the series, either placed very high or very low in rankings. Any thoughts on what makes this book so contentious? I asked Steve this question, and I'll just echo what he said, which is that it's Krupp. It's all Krupp. 90% of the contention is from Krupp.
I don't think that's the case. That's
what he said, and I'm very confused by it because for me, I would say 80% of the book, I get the fuck out of here, cat. I'm done with you already. 80% of the book, I just fully was able to ignore that Krupp was the narrator, and because just like the whole book is flowery language. What's a little more than normal? So if that's really why people bounce off this, that's crazy to me that you got this deep and this was the breaking point.
Yeah, I feel like it's the start of the books. Like this book, I would say, is in no rush, you know? And it's not the start of that, but it's definitely, I don't know, but I agree with Josh. It's like all the things that I think would turn people off of this book are not found for the first time in this one, you know?
Yes.
I do think they're a bit more pronounced than at other points, but I also don't feel like it's like, and then the books kind of got long and philosophical on book 8. You know, it's like, where you been, buddy? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I think this one definitely wears the like Malazan of it all on its sleeve the most. So I guess if you don't like this book, you just don't like Malazan. But I think it might be due to the fact that like we're coming back to so many storylines and like maybe there's some sort of subconscious regression of like, oh, we're back in Darujistan, we're back in book 1. I didn't like Gardens of the Moon, so now my headspace is subconsciously in like a bad, you know, I'm like confused all the time or something. But I don't know, man.
Well, it's not contentious for me, you know.
This one is from Victor Schleisch, sorry. Toll the Hounds has some of the best 1v1 duels in the series. Which one is you all's favorite? It's the Animander Rake and Traveler one. That's it. It's a Dragon Ball Z battle, and it's so cool.
You're not even gonna try and joke about the Krupp post battle.
No.
We can't even do a fun maybe little joke about that.
You can, but I've already given my answer.
It's like they're on the mules and donkeys, and it's like, haha, they're all right.
I liked the Cutter and Gorlas Viticus one just because.
Oh, that's a legitimately great pick, Josh.
Well, see, because so much of this series is like teasing, I know what you want to happen is this, and it never does. And this is one of the few times that I was like, I just want him to fucking stab him before the fight starts. And it actually happened. I was so happy.
Yeah.
I also think that Murillo sequence is really well done.
That's a great chapter.
Inge, do you have any thoughts?
The problem is I forgot the name.
Okay.
So, it's the guy. I really liked it because it showed true grit,
Okay.
It's the guy that didn't die but probably should have died.
You're talking about the guy who was fighting Kalor.
Oh, you're
Kalor.
right.
Spinok Durav.
I like a David and Goliath situation.
Yeah.
It is a really good fight now that you say it.
Yeah. That one, and then the Murillo one is also really good. You're right. Oh, maybe it's just a recency bias thing for the Animated Rake Traveler one.
I also think that...
I would have picked that if you didn't, AJ. I
Okay.
would have picked that if you did.
Okay. Well, I like your choice, so.
Yeah, I would have picked it. It just seemed like the obvious one, It's like...
Yeah, correct.
Give me something else,
Yeah. We like to dive a little deeper here on the show.
The people's person. That is AJ, isn't it? Or is that Josh?
I think it's AJ.
Yeah, the
I don't
People's
know.
Champion,
I think it's
believe,
AJ too.
was the title I was given at one point.
The people's champion.
yeah.
That's AJ.
Wow. So, Inge, who is your favorite between Pust and Krupp? That's from Andre.
That's the most heinous question I've ever been asked. I'm so angry that I even have to consider this. You see, okay, it's not that easy. It's not an easy question because Krupp is just such a cornerstone. Like, I really...
Sure.
So, but I guess technically so is Pust, but, Krupp is like the voice and the eel.
The eel.
You know what? Oh, but Pust is so... Okay, I'm going to say Krupp.
Josh?
I'm Team Krupp. No question.
Aj?
I also think it's Krupp. I think the Pust sections are like funny, but I think generally like Krupp more as a character.
Yeah, so
Correct.
that's how I feel. I think the Pust
Yeah,
sections
yeah, yeah.
are funnier, but Krupp is good. And I like it when Krupp's there, where Pust just mostly seems like a bit,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just very much like, it's silly time,
Yeah.
And then he's
yeah.
going to say something weird and like, something about magic or whatever. And it's going to mean something, but like, it's mostly for the bit.
I love the bit, though.
Yeah.
I like the bit. Also, Mogoro not getting enough love. Or shout out.
Megora?
That's what I said.
That is, it was all O's in there.
Hysterical. That's not what you said.
Inge, do you want to read the next question?
From Eggs. Does the gang find any similarities between the Harlow Stoney and Mibes Silverfox plotline? Mibes' guilty, reluctant love towards Silverfox and Stoney's inability to allow herself to show love to Harlow. Previously, we had the Mibes POV, but in this storyline, the focus is mostly on Harlow's POV. Which of these two storylines resonates stronger with you? P.S. Much love. Love the show. Love ya, Eggs.
It's a great question.
Yeah. I love people drawing parallels in these books.
Yeah.
You're always like, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Exactly how I feel every time
When you
someone
put
does
it like
this.
that.
Yeah,
It
right.
seems compelling when you put the two
Right.
things next to each other.
Right.
Oh, it's a funny vibe today. Hold on. I'll be right back while I ruminate on this.
Okay. I think the one that resonated more with me is Harlow's. Is the Harlow Stoney one, because like the Silver Fox Mibe one is very like heavy and stuff from just a mother's point of view and stuff, but also Silver Fox is like this mystic being or whatever. So I think that kind of takes me out of it a little bit, if I had to nitpick, I guess. But like the Harlow and Stoney stuff is like, they're both just people in like a terrible system or like, a terrible place. And they are just doing people things. And so that's, I think, easier to relate to than like, I gave birth to a god or whatever. And I didn't really want, and the Mibes POV is like not super focused on the fact that Silver Fox is a god, but I think you can't remove that part of it for me. So if I had to choose one that resonated stronger, I think the Harlow and Stoney one is my choice.
AJ just fully said everything I was thinking. So
Nice.
nailed it in one.
Nice.
I think it's also very easy to the Mibe was 5 books ago. So
That's
obviously
true as well.
time is a little bit of a factor there, but I really do think it is like the whole, I can really understand and empathize with Stani versus I find it very difficult to empathize with someone whose life force is being drained by their daughter god.
But don't you think, Josh, that that's just like metaphorical? Like you could read that as metaphor as well. Like it doesn't have to literally be being drained. Because like being a parent, I imagine, is an insanely draining experience.
No, I get that. That's why I don't want kids. And so that also makes me sad. So
Sure.
I get, but yeah, so I think Stani for me.
Yeah, Aj, I do hear you that I think situating it in Harlow's point of view is really different, especially since Silver Fox is less interested in getting that relationship from her mother, you know?
Sorry.
It's less than Harlow, you know, who obviously is more interested in it. But I do think the point of view of Stoney and Maib are different in a sense. You know, to me, I feel like Stoney like wants to open herself up to that love, but is not letting her really do that. Where I feel like Silver Fox is opened up to the love and loves her daughter, and that the pain is actually coming from her experiencing those emotions, you know, where Stoney, I feel like the pain is coming from her shutting herself off from those emotions, you know? But I do think it's an interesting parallel, and I do think they do kind of resonate with each other, even if they have these differences.
Yeah, I do think also that like the Harlow versus Silver Fox, like, you know, they're both the child and stuff. I think both of those POVs are like true to like what being a small child is like you just want to like have your parents love you and stuff. And also like what being a teenager / like young adult is like, where like I'm trying to gain independence and I'm not really thinking about my parents. Cause like inevitably, you know, children children stop thinking about their parents because they're thinking about themselves. And
Silver Fox almost takes for granted
100%, 100%. So I think they're both extremely well like realized in those terms. But man, good books, gang. India, what do you think?
Well, definitely parallels in some way. Neither of them chose to get pregnant. Neither of them chose to have children. So
yeah, that's true. Because wasn't the Maib like artificially like implanted with Silver Fox or something like that?
Yeah, I guess I don't know whether she was already pregnant and then the baby kind of becomes another thing, or whether she became pregnant and involuntarily. I don't actually know.
I thought it was involuntarily. I thought
this an immaculate conception? Is that what this is?
No, because remember the beginning of the book, and they're all in there, and they're like, "There's this baby." All the god people are in there talking, and they're like, "We're gonna put a baby in there."
Oh, they did put a baby in her. Yeah, Krupp was there, and Kroll was there. You're right.
Right?
Yeah, I guess.
Damn, good memory.
I kind of forget, to be honest. It's really interesting. I'm gonna try and look it up.
And she was like young and like whatever, and then she got old.
Yeah. But which one would you say resonated stronger with you?
I loved that book. So
yeah, that's fair.
That one.
That's fair.
I loved it. I loved Silver Fox. I loved the Maib.
So, okay, this is what I thought. Okay, I'm clarifying. This is just according to the wiki. Do not quote me. That she was already pregnant with a child that had no soul. ... I don't know what that means.
Cool.
And then
how does one?
And then that Tattersail's soul would transferred to Maib's child by the gods and stuff.
Got it.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Osmosis.
So that is a little confusing to me, but I do think it wasn't involuntary in a sense. But I do agree that it being Silver Fox is involuntary. So I do think there is some element there, Yeah. But she was already pregnant is what I mean.
I'm sure she like wasn't expecting to turn old.
Oh, no. Well, so that's what I mean. I think you're right on the spirit of the
God, that book is so good.
I'm a Maib head.
Memories of Ice is such a good fucking book.
Memories of Ice rules. This book also rules and is weird. To me, it's weird and funny that the sequel to Memories of Ice essentially is book 8 and has almost nothing to do with what happens in Memories of Ice.
Yeah.
So
Memories of Ice is the best book.
Yeah. Next question. Cool. This one is from Alex from our Patreon. Thank you so much, Alex, for the question and the support. Hey, thanks for a great podcast. Maybe more of a question to Steve, but since he has Scandinavian roots, do you think he gave Snell that name intentionally? In Swedish, snäll, spelled S-N-A with the umlau L-L, means kind. Cheers from Sweden. And then, in parentheses, the bagel discussion went over my head.
Hysterical.
Very good.
Yeah, it's a real shame that I didn't see this question before we talked. Steve, I did include it though because I thought it was so interesting. Do you think
that is interesting?
Do you think it's like actually like a joke, or do you think it's just?
I do not think it's. I don't think it's that. I think I asked Steve a similar name question about Tula Shorn because there's so many clues to it being bigger, and his response was no. It's just a name I came up with. So I would imagine it's the same as here.
Yeah,
I do. It is.
I can't say definitively. Hey, and you know what? Who wrote this in? Neil?
Alex.
What, Neil?
Neil's the next one. Look, Alex, just, stand your truth. Believe what you want to believe.
Death of the author. Maybe that's what the book's about, actually.
Exactly.
Hey.
All right, so this one comes in from Neil on Twitter. Josh, what do you think of the lack of finality in death in the Malazan world?
Sometimes I think it's good, and sometimes I think it's a little obnoxious.
All right, speak more to that.
Well, I love my boy Talk, and anytime Talk gets to come back is great. But then Tula Shorn escapes from a giant hill in the death realm and just kind of gets to chill and be alive again, and that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, considering that, like, Hood explicitly said, when he sent Talk on a mission, he was like, "You're not alive, though. You're coming back." So I really just wish the ground rules were a little fucking clearer about what you could and could not do while dead. And I think it makes things a little confusing.
Ange, what do you think about the lack of finality in death?
I agree with Josh because sometimes people can come back and sometimes they can't. And it's like, does that make it more interesting? Will he, won't he? Will she, won't she? Will they, won't they? I don't know. But also, I would like a little bit more finality, and I like my death final.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I think whenever a series starts and you're like, whoa, they went there, they killed the guy. And then, eventually they're like, actually, he's back, but he's a ghost now. Or he's back, but he's like a different guy now.
Yeah.
He's back, but he's a ghost now makes me angry. I hate that.
Yeah, that sentence really,
hate that.
that sentence gave me such just like a feeling.
Because you're like, okay, well, so actually there was no consequence,
Yeah.
So I do get that, but I don't know. Honestly, it's something that never really bothered me about the series until I learned that people were bothered by it, It doesn't really bother me, but I do get if people have a little bee in their bonnet about it. What do you think, Aj?
I agree, Pete. I never really it didn't register for me that there was like a lack of finality in death. I don't know, because there are still deaths that feel like big deals, like even Whiskey Jack dying and then coming back as Iskar Jarak. I don't know. I still felt upset about Whiskey Jack's death at the time, and like I didn't feel like him coming back cheapened that or anything. But I don't know. Maybe I just like the story. I don't know. I want to say something poetic about like death isn't really final and like the impacts that people leave after they're gone, et cetera, et cetera. But like, I don't know how that like applies to Talk continually coming back and stuff. So I'm sure there is some poetry in there at some points, but there are also times where it's just like, no, this character is alive again. But I like both of those things, so I don't have a problem with it really.
Death is pretty final, though, Aj.
Well,
when you think about it.
Yeah, well, it depends how you look at it, Pete.
I was just
Death
joking.
is final to the person who has died, but to everybody else, it goes on, perhaps forever.
I got you, buddy. Josh, do you want to read this next question?
Hell yeah. This one's from a name I'm going to mispronounce. I'm going to go with C. Manu.
Yeah.
So in my honest opinion, an alternative title for this book could be Kruppa details how the good folk of Genebakis begin to realize all of their toxic relationship choices and decided collectively to double down on them. That extends beyond romantic stuff to relationships with gods, parents, friends, revenge, I suppose. You guys have been disappointed with some of Steve's relationship building in the past, so in this most relationship-y book, which Toll the Hounds ships did you toot and which did you boot?
Great question.
Favorite question.
Loved reading it. It was very good to read.
I
read it well.
Inge, what do you think?
I agree wholeheartedly. Let's see. relationships to boot. Any relationship that has to do with Crocus Cutter, boot.
What? Crocus Chalice? You don't ship it?
Didn't ship it. In fact, boot. Crocus, Scalara, boot. Crocus, Cotillion Shadow Throne, boot. Crocus,
Oh,
boot.
Crocus boot.
all right, we get it. You're not a young handhead.
Okay, well, I was just making my point known. Scalara and
Barathol.
Mm-hmm. Ship it.
Of
Yeah,
course,
toot that
definitely.
bad boy.
Toot.
Hard toot.
Hard dude.
What other ones did I really... Oh my god. Toxic parental relationships, Animander, Rake, and Mother Dark. Boot.
You don't love when you don't love someone killing themselves on an interdimensional plane to like open up their mother's heart, who was also traveling to find them at the same time, coincidentally.
Hard boot. So I gave you a couple of takes.
I would choose Stony and Gruntle, a relationship I support.
A toot.
Do you think the series, well, you know where the fucking series goes, but like I didn't really feel like the series was pushing them in a direction other than just kind of like him being like, hey, you need to fucking get your shit together sometimes.
No,
Although I
Isn't he
guess
dead?
actually, I guess Bellum Nom did that more than anybody, really.
Well, Bellum Nom straight up said it, but I don't know if those moments really did
I
much.
like their interactions in Memories of Ice, and I like their interactions in this book, and I think it's clear that Gruntle is just like worried about her, and like in just a very caring way, you know. And I think that's nice, you know.
I would say Gruntle is very unequipped to deal with like, I don't know, helping Stony in any meaningful way.
Oh, I agree with that. I
Because
don't
he's
think
just like,
navigating it.
I'm here to help. And then it's just like, doesn't do anything about it because he doesn't know how to be like a supportive partner.
He's like, oh, how's things with the kid? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Cool.
Cool. I'm going to go. I got to go to work.
I gotta go. Yeah. I like Picker and Blend too.
Oh,
Shoot,
they're
shoot.
good. Yeah.
The best relationship.
I would also say Antsy and Raced. Toot. That's a good.
Ooh,
Those are good combos.
toot.
They're fun. Raced and whatever his cat's name is. Toot.
I want to add Fisher and Duiker.
Yeah.
Toot
Fisher and
relationship.
Duiker, big toot. Fisher and Lady Envy.
Toot?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Will they, won't they?
Yeah.
I liked the part where they were like the part in that chapter where there was very, very flowery language about how they were like in love. I thought that was really nice.
I'll go Torvald Nom and his lovely wife, whose name I think starts with an M, but I can't think right this second.
Toot.
Yeah, big toot.
Oh, I'll go
Thordy and Yaz.
I was gonna say, oh no.
I'll toot it. I'll toot it.
I'll go Scorch and Lef. Big
I'll
toot.
toot it. I'll toot it.
Big toot.
What about Torvald and Rallick?
Boo! No.
I'll toot it. I'll toot it.
I'll toot it.
Yeah.
So
What do you think about Rallick and Vorkon?
Yeah, I was thinking about
I mean, it's gonna be a lot of aggression in the bedroom there, I feel like.
You think so?
But isn't that what we look
for
for?
their so I'll give them a 2 for that. Good for them.
Toot.
Interesting. I thought we were going to boot it. It's interesting to see the split here.
that. Yeah, I think I'm booting it.
I also boot it. I'm not a fan.
We love a little toxic love.
Exactly.
All right. This next question comes in from Deadhouse Squatter. Throughout the series, you guys have been pretty vocal against the inclusion of sexual violence in the series. After completing Toll the Hounds and Harlow's arc, do you think that his inclusion as well as Stoney's plotline should have been left out as well? Or was this look at the long-term aftermath of sexual violence a compelling enough story to justify the inclusion of Stormy's rape and Memories of Ice?
That's a tough but good question.
Good question.
I will say I think Harlow's storyline in this book is really good. And without Harlow's storyline, you don't get Murillo dying. You don't get, Cutter making his choices. So that storyline is in its own way essential. And I do think I enjoyed the ending with him and Stani. And now we've been confirmed, fucking Discord. It was Bellum Nom who was the random boy.
Yes, shout out to the Discord for that one.
Shout out to like 18 people in the Discord. I get it now.
What the fuck did they know?
Well, they pointed out a very clear piece of evidence that we missed.
Yeah.
That Pete should have remembered to remind us of. But they were very clear. They were like, Pete read this twice. They should have told us.
All right, whatever.
I liked it.
Thank you to the Discord.
I don't know if I would say anything justify. That the ending. There's a little of a kitsch to the question. I really like that, but I thought the storyline was good, and I'll leave it there.
I wouldn't listen. This is something we talk about on the podcast soon, so but I did want to include this question. I remember when we read Memories of Ice. I find this plotline very powerful, and I do know that it kind of so connects to Memories of Ice, and I remember wanting to talk about it then, but being unable to. So I do think it's compelling in this book, and if anything, I wish there was more of it. I wish Stoney was a bigger part of the book and we learned more about her life and what was going on. But, obviously it does explore the aftermath of this. And I think the Saren plotline also explores the aftermath of violence like that. And I think both of them could explore it more. But I think this both of these plotlines explore it, which is good. And I find this book compelling. So, Aj, do you have any thoughts?
No, I fully agree. I think this, I don't want to call it a payoff, but I think this conclusion to this kind of, introduction to this storyline in Memories of Ice is really good. And I think is invaluable in terms of the way it represents, events and relationships like these, which are, a very real thing. So no, I think I do think it was worth it, I guess. And I agree, Pete. I do wish there was more Stoney stuff in here. It feels like kind of in the middle of the book we kind of lose that storyline a bit, and instead replace that with like the Gruntle Jaghut Island stuff. And I would have really I think I could have preferred more, at least a couple of scenes of Stoney and stuff. I don't know, just like thinking.
I somewhat feel that way. Yeah, it's like it's in here. I wouldn't call it the biggest plot line in the book, but I do like that it's in here and it's a part of it.
Yeah, and I mean the book is obviously aware of how like impactful it is, because that is the final moment of this book before the epilogue is Harlow coming back to Stoney and saying like, I'm important. I deserve to be in your life, etc. So
love me.
Yeah.
We received several comments about the cipher and the series of it all. And we talk about that a lot in the spoiler cast and our conversation with AP Canavan. So we are omitting some of those questions.
Cool.
Inge, do you want to read this next question?
From McKean. First time round, I bounced off the Kellic storyline hard. So much so that I emailed Steve about it and a few other things. He sent a super nice reply and let me know that it was an allegory for our addiction to oil. Does that change your interpretation of the storylines at all?
I don't think so.
Not
because I don't think I made the direct connection that it was to oil. But I also think that it works generally with just like general blanket addiction stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an allegory for, I feel like, a lot of stuff. So no, I think I kind of read it. I think it being specifically oil is interesting, but
when I hear that, I'm like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, people are driven to do, terrible things in the name of the economic support of the oil industry.
Yeah, no, I know. But it's like, like, how much is the book related? Like, I feel like that's like a rogue theme to be pushing. If like, I agree. I much more grab onto general addiction thoughts or other types of reading.
Yeah, I feel like putting too fine a point on it raises more questions.
We got a question from Battle Dad about how most of the other books in this series have these military plot lines, but this is the first book to not have kind of an army-focused and military-focused storyline. And I wonder what that was like for you, and knowing that there'll be some more military stuff in the next book, I wonder what you guys make of its absence here and its our return to the military. Josh?
Honestly, I think there's so much going on in this book that until this question was just posed, I didn't even, think about the fact that there were no military scenes here. I'm sure maybe like India did, because India's on record of hating the military scenes, but like I like the military scenes, but I also just liked this book. So to me, I wasn't missing anything. And there was, it's a great book. Didn't need the military. Didn't have it.
And any thoughts?
I agree with Josh. I did recognize that. And I liked it better. I feel like this is different for me, like, because again, like Josh said, like I prefer to not have them. So when I'm not reading them, I'm not missing them at all, or even wonder. Like I wasn't even wondering where they were. I was more so like, oh, this is so refreshing that there's only like battles that I have to read where there's not 70,000 people running around and I'm trying to figure out what it looks like, but I have no idea. So yeah, I liked it. Worked for me. Keep it up.
Aj?
Yeah, same thing as Josh. I did not even clock it, but yeah, because I also like reading the military stuff. I think I'm on record saying I like the moments of like being with the individual soldiers more than I do like the whole big army stuff. I think the only time that like the military stuff really worked for me was in Midnight Tides. I was like big hot into those battles. That stuff was great. But yeah, no. So I think taking the military aspect out and just focusing on these smaller groups or individual characters is all the stuff that I like about these books. And so I didn't really notice or miss the like military strategy of it all. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, I've always been closer to India than Josh with the military stuff, but I do think there's times when it works and I'm really tuned into it and have a great time reading it. But I think I would generally enjoy characters outside of those settings. But, I really like this book. I don't need it. I don't thirst for the military stuff.
This one comes from Sid Boss. In the series, Steve captures, better than I've read elsewhere, how living an extraordinarily long life warps people and their societies so much they can seem almost alien. Not surprising that living for tens of thousands of years would do this. I'm thinking of the Andes' passiveness and listlessness, or the Jaghut's indifference, or Calor's unrelenting but undirected rage. There's other examples, Eater, Icarium, Male, etc. So my question for the hosts is, how many decades or centuries of life do you think it would take for you to get bored enough to slip to that level of distance from life?
Well,
all right, I have a couple qualifiers for I answer. What time period am I allowed to be in?
Who are you asking?
Like you read the questions, that you make the rules now.
Sure. It would be right.
Now.
It would be right now. Yeah, you would have to.
Right now,
Yeah.
a long time. Like, easily 800 years. Because in like a fantasy world, like swords are pretty sick, but there is no internet yet. So I feel like I do get how the humdrum of day-to-day life would get a little old. But now, if I can live forever, baby, I'm just throwing it all into stocks. And I can play the long game, 90 years from now when I'm fucking swimming in it and then I set myself up for success, I'll just spend every year learning a new sick ass thing. Oh, what's that? This year it's snowboarding here. I just fly to snowboarding places and just do that for an entire year. And then when I'm an expert, boom, next hobby.
Josh would use
800 years easily.
Josh would use his immortality to game the system, not to change it in any meaningful way.
No, because then you become like a god emperor, and then the tedium comes back because people have petty, small, mortal problems, and I'm not dealing with them.
See, I think
I agree with Josh.
I think for me, I know I would never get bored because I've been practicing mindfulness meditation, and I'm really just, I'm really appreciating the moment. I'm really in my body. I'm really enjoying life to its fullest. So I think with that and my strict yoga practices, I think it's really going to be smooth sailing as I appreciate every second of my eternal life.
Yeah, I'm going to hold a sun salutation for 600 years and then come talk to me when I'm done.
I think these two answers have really just highlighted every difference between Peter and I. Because Peter in his setting, Peter's like a great tortoise, right? He's just been there he's been there so long, a tree has grown on him, but he's wise, he'll answer your questions. And then I'm just like doing kickflips somewhere, no need for anybody else.
Inch, what do you think? You gonna live a happy forever life?
Yeah. So agreed. First of all, with Josh, you gotta spend the first 100 years getting disgustingly rich.
Oh yeah,
smart.
And once
smart.
I'm there,
immorally rich.
Correct.
That's what Jesus would want.
Yeah. No, like so rich that I want to buy out companies. I want to form a mega conglomerate and call everything India Co.
Capitalism.
I'm going to destroy America, turn it into India 2.0, and then run the world, or at least run like a couple of like some major, like
some light Calor behavior.
I low key want to be like Jeff Bezos, but like times 4. Like I want to be able to control governments.
Wow. This was not what I thought you were going to say.
Well, that, and I would, that's just basic. Like, I want to find out about the Illuminati. I want to know, I need to get down to all of the nitty gritty of what's really going on behind the scenes. Once I find out the secrets of the country, then...
But Inch, do you not think after a couple centuries of girl bossing, you might feel some distance in life, you know?
Well, then I'll have a few children.
I see. Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
India goes full national treasure for 500 years and then settles down.
Settles down as a housewife.
Aj, what do you think?
I don't know, man. I guess to directly answer the question, how long do I think it would take to slip to that level of distance? I would probably, I'm going to be generous with myself. I'm going to say 300 years. Because
That's it?
Have you ever seen 100-year-old person? They do not care about anything going on around them. They are just
but they didn't have the chance to live hundreds. They didn't have the chance to stack their money up.
Yeah, am I going to keep shrinking, you know?
No, we don't change. We look the same.
It's a Calor sitch. Yeah,
we just get really dried out and look gross.
Your you're just going to get drier and drier.
Is that what Calor looks like? Is he dry?
Yeah, he's like a desiccated corpse. He's like a mummy.
Is he really?
No way.
He's got a mummy.
He's not like a hot dude. He's not just some dude walking around. He is like,
oh my God, he looks terrible.
Yeah,
I love to reclaim characters as hot, but Calor is not a hot guy. I'm sorry to say.
Wow.
Yeah, guys.
That is slightly depressing.
Did you just see him as a guy?
I thought he was, kind of not very attractive, but like in an angular sort of way, you know?
No.
Tell me that somebody didn't make
kind of like Vigo the Carpathian. That's kind of how I imagined him.
That's a
From
reference.
Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, yeah, actually, I do get that.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for all your mail. We are going to actually move and talk about some of our general thoughts about the book now. Some impressions.
Yeah. And a ranking, perhaps?
Who wants to share first how they feel about Toll the Hounds now that we are finished the book?
I'll go. Good book. Solid.
Nice.
9 out of maybe an 8 out of 10. Ba-doom.
Right. Nice.
Haha, I got ya.
Can I say though, actually, one complaint? Not enough dogs.
Not that many actual dogs.
Not a number. There were plenty of number of dogs. Not enough dog time.
You're looking for quality over quantity.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know any of those Hounds of Light's names. All right. And I really feel like there was a missed opportunity. So for me to enjoy some dogs, that's the missed opportunity.
If you're going to call the book Toll the Hounds, then yeah, we should know the names of some of these good boys.
I mean, I hate to actually, but like,
if you're going to say their names are in the book, fuck off.
No, but like with the other books, Dead House Gates, Gardens of the Moon, all that stuff doesn't happen till like the last 200 pages or whatever. So having the hounds all be in the last 200 pages to me tracks.
That's not true, AJ.
What do you mean?
There's water in all of Midnight Tides. It almost starts with
I knew it was going to be
water.
Midnight Tides, you motherfucker.
Jesus Christ.
What did you think of book 8? How was your Toll the Hounds experience?
I liked the book. I had a great time reading it. Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, like I said with the military question, like this book was just all the parts of Malazan I like and none of the parts I don't, I think. Like it was all individual or small group stories and like one-on-one fights, which are all of my favorite things in these books. So pretty high up there in terms of likability. I don't think we're far enough away from it yet for me to like fully say the lasting impact it has. But I think it's going to end up being kind of a Memories of Ice for me, where I'll just keep thinking back on it and being like, yeah, hell yeah, you know?
2 positive reviews. Inge, what did you make of Toll the Hounds?
Toll the Hounds was pretty good. I especially liked not having to meet so many like new characters.
Sure.
And coming back to Daruge, the city of whatever.
Blue Flame.
Correct. What else did I really like about it? I don't know. I kind of also like when we're in the mines. Anybody else kind of like those mines?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting.
I mean, the child slave labor just was a sort of lingering.
Josh, how many times they're not slaves? How many times do we have to go over this?
Yeah.
They're indentured servants.
Come on, Josh.
They're paying off a debt. You're right.
They're not slaves.
Come on.
They're having fun.
I'm done with this.
So yeah, to be honest though, those, I don't know, I like the kids like scenes. I liked Harlow. I thought that was a really fun little, it wasn't fun, but like, I don't know, it's like a change of pace. I like the change of pace. I'll call it that.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
So yeah, Toll the Hounds. I kind of agree. 8 out of 10, even though it's funny. 7 out of 10.
More like Toll, the best fucking book. My official opinion. Still like the book a lot. Like it even more. 3rd time I've read it, and I think I really agree with said Inge. It's a real change of pace from the rest of a series in a way. I mean, I think it fits in a lot of elements, but it is unlike some of the other books in a major sense. And I just enjoy the kind of mundane elements of it in a sense. So I'm a fan. All right, I've already written down my
Me too.
ranking. I'm ready to go.
What the fuck?
Wow, come on, Inge.
All right, well, you guys.
What were
first.
you paying attention to what the other people were saying on the
We were
podcast?
saying?
Because I fully was clocked out doing my own rankings over here.
Wow.
You're so funny. All right, I'm doing mine now.
All right.
I would agree with the change of pace thing, though, India. I do think it is like a really big change of pace. I think that's a great way to put it.
I see.
Thank you
You can
so
listen
much.
to India's comments. You can't listen to mine.
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck you said.
All right, Aj, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, are we doing top to bottom, bottom to top?
Dealer's choice.
Ooh, I'm going to go bottom to top.
You're the
right,
That's how I'm
producer.
going to do it.
So I'm just going to say it in whatever order, and then I'm going to cut everybody's order so it's the exact same as mine.
Perfect. Works for me.
All right, so I have number 8 at Dead House Gates. Number 7, Gardens of the Moon. Number 6 is, oh man, I had this one and I was gonna make the choice in the moment, but it's really hard. Number 6 is Bone Hunters. Number 5 is House of Chains. Number 4 is Toll the Hounds. Number 3, Reaper's Gale. Number 2, Midnight Tides. Number 1, Memories of Ice. So it's really tough. I feel like the need to clarify every time we do this that like,
Could you say your top 3 again?
Yeah, we went so fast.
I just want to clarify. We are ranking in like the smallest window of like good book. Like they're all really up there.
Yeah. They're all
We're,
very
like,
good.
Really nitpicking. My top 3, sorry. I'll just do my top 4 because Toll the Hounds was number 4. Reaper's Gale was number 3. Midnight Tides was number 2. Memories of Ice is number 1.
All right, I'll go next.
Okay.
I continue to have completely an unhinged attitude when it comes to this meaningless ranking we do.
House of
I
Chains,
change
House of
it every
Chains, House of
time.
Chains.
My bottom 4 are Gardens of the Moon, Dead House Gates, Reaper's Gale, House of Chains. These are 4 books I'm not super hot on, I would say. Then we get into the top 4 of books I would say are unclarified bangers. Numbers, you have Bone Hunters, and then you're going up to Midnight Tides, then you're going up to Toll the Hounds. And today I put Memories of Ice number 1, just because that was my mood. But all 4 of those books I have unreserved endorsements of. They rule.
All right, I'll go. My bottom for several books in a row has been House of Chains, and it remains there. Then it's Gardens, followed by Dead House Gates. Now, on a reread, those could flip, but I do just think Dead House Gates is better. Even taking out the fact that I didn't understand Gardens of the Moon. I think
I do think you have to read Gardens of the Moon again. It's a fun book.
Yeah, I will at some point. Then after that is controversially Bone Hunters is my 4th worst.
Whoa.
I know.
That's where
I know.
was.
And then Midnight Tides is my 4th best because I love so many characters on that continent. Just the audacity to just be like, and now fucking Letherus of Steve. Great. Top 3. 3rd, Reaper's Gale. Did not think I liked it as much while reading it in the moment. Looking back, so many cool fucking moments, and I can't get over them. Number 2, Memories of Ice, certified absolute classic banger. Number 1, Toll the Hounds.
Damn.
I have recency bias every time.
Number 1, baby. All right, Ange, what do you got?
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Ooh. What was Reaper's Gale?
That was the last book.
One. The last book we just read. I put that high because I think about my boy Beak.
Yeah, you got Beak, you got the assault on
I think Table
Letherus.
becoming Empire, the Emperor, like the whatever he is. I love it so much.
Guys, I kind of like these books.
Yeah, it's easy to like them once you get through the last page.
Yep.
It's so much easier.
Okay. All right.
Go with your
I'm
heart.
locking it
Go
in.
with your gut.
Okay. Gardens of the Moon.
Last, you mean? We start in the bottom?
Yeah,
Okay,
I thought we were
good.
starting at the bottom,
Yeah,
right?
bottom to top, bottom to top.
Just triple checking.
Toll the Hounds.
Whoa!
Wow.
India
Okay. Keep going.
Okay.
The Bone Hunters. Reaper's Gale. Midnight Tides. And then we're rounding out the top with Dead House Gates, House of Chains, Memories of Ice.
Wow, Ange. Wow.
Consistently with the wildest rankings on the show, India. I really, really love your rankings every time.
And you said you liked Toll the Hounds, too.
The thing is, I did, but when I compare it to the moments of the other books that I really like I really liked the one when they were like the Letherus. I loved the Sengar I loved that shit. So
yeah.
It has to go up because those I was really in tune with those plots. These ones I was just like, it was a good book, but man.
Assuming our final rankings don't have all of us being like 9 and 10 are the best fucking books ever written, I think we should reconvene like 3 months later to then kind of give our final rankings when we have time to look back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So here's one question I wanted to read from Bird Commodore 18. Steve has said time and again how Dust of Dreams and the Crippled God is one volume. He was forced to split in 2. As such, I'd say you're moving into the end game of the series. Knowing how Steve has no qualms with moving the story to a completely new place as he sees fit, where do you think the series will conclude? Genabacchus, Seven Cities, Lether, or somewhere new? And I just want to build this question into general thoughts from the three of you about where we are headed in these last 2 books.
AP actually told me not to worry about that.
That's true.
I
true.
actually, I do know where we're going to go in Dust of Dreams.
Oh,
Why?
you know.
Well, there's only
Why?
one place we can go really at this point, and also the back of the book explicitly states it. So
Space.
not space. We're going to go to the eastern part of the Letheri continent because that's where all the armies are going. Last book ended with them heading that way, plus the whole fucking Barghast army's already there. So
Yeah. I would say,
we're going there, folks.
yeah, but the question, Josh, is where do you think the series will conclude? Where do you think book 10 ends? I think the book 10 ends somewhere like in space. I think that's where we end up, is somewhere that is just like, it's not even on the planet. It's like maybe in a Warren or something, or like maybe in 2 Warrens, and then surprise, oh, we're actually on one of the double moons above the planet or some shit. See,
the problem I have is that because we're reading these so late, like Steve's already working on other shit. We like know that the world can't explode, because if I didn't know that, I would assume the world explodes at the end of this book.
I was thinking that too.
We know that there is a follow-up series that follows Karsa and I believe his 2 daughters we've just met.
Yeah, but what if the world gets split into like 100 different timelines? And in the timeline we read is the world
Now, you
exploding.
mentioned time. I do think time could come into play at some point in these last 2 books. In what way? I have no fucking clue.
I high-key guarantee you that last book is going to be set 20 years in the future. Locking it in now.
Yes.
Full characters.
Yes.
Locking it in.
Yes. Oh my God.
God, and what I hate is that could happen.
I will
That
say
would be such a fucking play. Oh my God.
that was my feeling when I knew nothing about book 8 and I opened it up after all of that time, and I was like, what? We're in Darujhistan? Murillo's here? I was like, what is going on?
Yep.
Well, listen, I guess we're going to have to see. We're very excited for the final season of the show. We're going to talk more about it, but we plan to cover Dust of Dreams and the Crippled God in one very special final season, and we will talk more about it at the start of Dust of Dreams. Until then, we have a great off-season plan. We talked to AP Canavan. There's the spoiler cast next week. We're gonna read another Botchlane and Corporal Brooch novella, and then we'll get into Dust of Dreams in October. We're looking forward to it. We'll record the first episode soon. Anything else we wanted to say about Toll the Hounds?
Good. Woof woof, baby.
Woof,
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 bark,
woof.
bark.
And I will say, Nick Cans asked, only 2 books left. Have you thought about a Philly live show for finale of book 10? And I'll just say it's an interesting question, you know? It's an interesting question. Woof, woof.
Yeah.
Woof,
Woof, woof. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hello, everybody. Producer AJ here, preparing myself for Taylor Swift and Carly Rae Jepsen to release their albums on the same day this year. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast, and thank you to everyone who sent in questions. We always love going through them and hearing y'all's takes on everything. If you'd like to give us your thoughts or feelings about this or any of our episodes, you can always email us 10verybigbooks@gmail.com, tweet us at 10verybigbooks, or you can head on over to our Discord, bit.ly/VBB Discord. That's capital V, capital B, capital B, capital D, Discord. That link will be in the show notes. Thank you to all of our wonderful patrons over on Patreon. If you'd like to financially support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/10verybigbooks. If you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/10verybigbooks, you may have seen the debut of Talkin' Targaryen, title subject to change, which is covering every episode of the new Game of Thrones series, House of the Dragon, weekly. We'll be releasing the rest of these discussions exclusively on our Patreon, so if you want to hear us talk about that and eventually Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, you can head to our Patreon and get access to those for just $1. That link, again, will be in the show notes. And as always, thank you so very much to Dan Gesrick for making our spectacular cover art. You can follow him on Twitter at @A_W_Dan_G for the hottest TB12 takes. And of course, the wonderful music in today's episode, including the remixed intro and outro track, is by the one, the only Amaranthin from his album Simulant Rain, which you can find along with his other music on bandcamp.com. Links to their pages will be in the show notes, and 10 Very Big Books will be back in 1 week on September 9th, talking to the one and only AP Canavan, one of Steve's advanced readers, and host of A Critical Dragon on YouTube. It's a really fun conversation. You're not going to want to miss it. And I'll talk to you then. And thank you so much for listening.